Until 4 months ago, I didn't even know this existed, but now I think it's one of the most useful things I've ever made. This is a little holder that lets you carry your sweater or light jacket completely hands-free. It clips right onto your bag or even a belt loop. No tying it around your bag, no stretching it out, and no more realizing that you dropped it on the sidewalk 5 minutes ago. It's perfect for those in-between days where it's warm in the afternoon, but cold in the mornings or at night. And once you see how it works, you're probably going to want to make one for every bag that you own. Hi, I'm Victoria, and I help you sew practical, stylish accessories that are made for real life and real adventures. So this project is called my zipper sweater keychain. I originally got the idea after seeing a couple of concept ideas on Pinterest. And I love the idea of being able to clip your sweater onto something and carry it hands-free. But I wanted to make something that was more secure and didn't hang awkwardly or drag when you're walking. So this version uses a zipper to adjust for the thickness of your sweater or light jacket. And it also adds a snap that folds everything back up into a compact hold. That keeps the weight off the zipper and keeps your sweater from hanging way down. It's a beginner-friendly project and it takes about 1 hour to make. And it goes even faster once you've made your first one. For this project, you'll only need a few simple supplies. First, you'll need a 7-inch zipper. You'll also need one heavy-duty swivel hook about 2 inches tall. You'll want something sturdy enough to comfortably hold the weight of a sweater or light jacket, not one of these teeny tiny ones. You'll also need one set of KAM Snaps and coordinating thread. For fabric, this is mostly a scrap-friendly project. You'll need enough to cut the 2 main body pieces, which are about 8 inches tall by 3 inches wide, plus a few small tab pieces. I do have a free printable pattern that includes all 3 pattern pieces, so you don't have to measure or draft anything yourself. You can download the free pattern using the QR code on screen or the link in the description below. The pattern also comes with step-by-step written instructions and illustrated graphics that go along with this video, so you can use the two together. And once you have the pattern saved, you can make another one without having to hunt for the tutorial again. Now, I'll have all the supplies linked in the description for your convenience. Now let's jump into the steps. First, press your fabric flat and cut out all of the pieces using the free pattern. And just leave your iron out because we're going to need it again in the next step. Next, take one of your main pieces and double fold the long edges. Fold the strip in half lengthwise and press. Open it up, fold both long edges into that center crease and press again. Then fold it in half once more along the original piece and clip to hold. Quick tip, using a little steam here helps the folds stay crisp, which makes later steps easier. Once finished, repeat the process with the second main strip, and then set it aside for now. Now take your zipper. At the end of the zipper with the zipper pull, stitch the zipper tails together so they meet. This keeps the zipper aligned and makes it easier to sew in the next steps. If you want a quick refresher on working with zippers, I'll link my zipper tutorial in the card on screen for you. And just as a reminder, if you're using a metal zipper, don't sew over the teeth. Wouldn't want to break a needle. Next, mark a 1/4-inch seam line along each long side of the zipper. These lines show exactly where your fabric strips will attach. And quick tip, I like to use a disappearing ink fabric marking pen here because these marks can be nearly impossible to reach later once everything's sewn together, and they might not end up perfectly hidden. And if anything shows through on lighter fabric, you don't have to worry because the marks are going to disappear on their own in 72 hours. Next, line up the 2 folded fabric strips with the 1/4-inch marks on each side of your zipper so the zipper tape is sandwiched between each folded piece of fabric. Pin everything in place along those lines. I recommend using traditional pins here to keep everything from shifting, and be generous with them. Now head to your machine. Switch to a zipper foot and sew a straight stitch down both sides. Starting with a back stitch at the end, I'm just going to sew very slowly down the strip, keeping the stitching right at the very edge of the fabric. When you get close to the zipper pull, stop with your needle down, lift the presser foot up, slide the pull out of the way, and continue sewing to the end. Back stitch to secure, and repeat the same process on the other side. Now take your 2 end tab pieces and fold them the same way you did in step 2. Fold in half and press. Open, fold both edges to the center, then fold in half again and press. Next, open that long fold back and fold each of the opposite ends in towards the center by about a ½ inch. Press to set those creases. At one end, open just one side of the long fold, leaving the other side and the short end folded. Fold the top side back over towards the center, then tuck the remaining open side into the little pocket you just created, so all of the raw edges are now enclosed. Repeat that fold on the other end of the tab and then do the same thing with the second end tab piece. Next, slide one folded tab onto each short end of the zipper piece. The tab should cover the zipper tail at each end, sitting just below the zipper teeth and just above the zipper pull. Pin each tab in place. I recommend using traditional pins here and being a little generous with them since this step can shift easily and you want everything lined up right at the edges. Sew a small box around each tab to secure it to the main piece. Keep your stitching close to the edge all the way around so the tab stays flat and fully attached and none of the edges can flip up later. Next, we're going to add the swivel hook tab, the part that actually lets you clip it to your bag. But before we get into that, if you're finding this tutorial helpful, please give it a like. It really helps it reach more sewists who might enjoy projects like this. And subscribe for more practical sewing projects like this one. Now take the remaining strip, the swivel hook tab, and press a ½ inch on both of the long sides. Then double fold the short ends the same way you did in earlier steps and press. This is the same double fold method as we used in step 2. You're just folding it in the opposite direction this time. Open the swivel hook tab back up along the center crease. At each short end, trim the 2 small inside corners created by the folded in edges so those raw edges won't stick out when you refold it. You're just clipping off those 4 little corners where the raw edges meet the center. Now before we add the swivel hook, top stitch around the entire swivel hook tab while it's still unfolded along the center crease. Sew close to the edge all the way around to secure the folded edges in place. Slide the hook onto the tab and bring the 2 ends of the tab together. Now take the bottom end of the zipper piece, the end opposite the zipper pull, and slide that tab in between the layers of the swivel hook tab. I know it feels backwards, but it needs to be the end opposite the pull so the finished holder works correctly. Line up the straight bottom edge of the zipper tab with the straight edge of the swivel hook tab and make sure the swivel hook tab fully covers the entire zipper tab. Pin everything in place, keeping the folded edges of the swivel hook tab lined up as neatly as possible. This area gets pretty thick where the tabs meet, so I usually have to use wonder clips on the edges and then regular pins for the rest of the tab so I can keep the edges aligned close to the hook. Using regular pins there allows me to keep it held in place closer to the presser foot once we start stitching. Now top stitch along both sides and across the bottom of the swivel hook tab to attach it to the main body. Sew very close to the edge all the way around and stitch as close to the swivel hook as you can without hitting the hardware. This area is pretty thick where the 2 tabs overlap, so you may want to switch to a heavy-duty needle. When I sew this, I like to start right up near the swivel hook. I'll use the hand wheel to make my first few stitches and backstitch safely, then switch back to sewing normally once I'm far enough away. And when I come back up the other side and get close to the hook again, I'll switch back to the hand wheel to finish and secure it without risking a broken needle. Finally, add 1 set of KAM snaps. Place the first snap in the swivel hook tab just above where it overlaps with the main body. Don't try to put it through the overlapped section. That part is too thick and the snap post won't reach. Now place the second snap in the center of the tab on the main zipper piece. This is the end with the zipper pull. At this point, the swivel hook is the top of your keychain and the zipper pull is the bottom. To line up the snaps perfectly, fold the entire keychain in half so that the bottom tab folds up behind the swivel hook tab. Line up the edges, then use an awl to mark your hole through the swivel hook tab first. Use a marking pin through that hole to mark the matching spot on the folded up tab behind it. You can also poke through all the layers at once, just be careful not to make the hole too large. Now, one quick reminder before you set the snaps. With the keychain laying flat and open, both of the snap caps should be on the same side, facing up. That way, when you fold the keychain closed, the socket and the stud meet correctly. Then, set your snaps in place. Now let me show you how it actually works. Just open the zipper, slide your sweater or light jacket through, zip down until it's snug, then fold it up and snap it closed to keep everything compact and secure. And clip it right onto your bag. And that's the zipper sweater keychain. Nice job. And if you haven't already grabbed your free pattern for this project, you can do that now using the QR code on screen or the link in the description. And if you're looking for more beginner-friendly sewing projects, you can start here. And if you want more practical sewing projects for life on the go, I've got a playlist for you right here. Thanks for watching. Bye!